Welcome to the Mindfulness Academy Podcast. I'm your host, Aimee Morgan, and today we have with us Rona Dixon. Welcome, Rona.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to it. We're already having fun.
Yes,
We're jamming.
Yes. Getting started.
We're having a blast already. So I'm excited for the conversation.
Me as well. Let's do it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you. You have quite the impressive bio. So Rona Dixon, creator of Road Trip to Wellness and Odyssey Wellness Coaching, has more than 25 years of experience in the health and wellness industry. As a lifestyle wellness practitioner and creator of the Road Trip to Wellness podcast, Rona loves to share holistic wellness information combined with age-old healing rituals and practices learned through stories, education, and personal experience. She is certified 200-hour yoga instructor since 2019 and holds a dual certification in mindfulness and meditation and spiritual wellness life coaching, which we will definitely be talking about because that is a really cool aspect to your journey and what you offer. So we will hop right into this, Rona, and I always like to start with a little bit of how we met. This was also through Robert Olemiller.
Yes,
Robert,
he's so great. He is.
We all love Robert. We love Robert around here. He was such a great interview.
He's awesome.
He's been on the show and he's introduced us just to some wonderful humans like yourself and such a kind-hearted man. So he's been on the show. We talked a lot about pain. He taught us about some straw breathing, which I have been using because I told you I moved. Our family moved, and that requires some straw breathing. Yes, you do. Tools. That's how I like to look at it. So I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about where you came from, where you grew up. I know you've been in Indy since what? You said 97?
97. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, my best friend and I moved here to Indianapolis in 96, 97, just kind of on a whim. We were I'm from Evansville, Indiana, so southern Indiana, and we were ready for a change. And she was moving here to teach. And I was like, I'm going. So my parents were super excited, but I did it anyways. I only had $500. I think about that all the time. I'm like, what were we thinking? What were we doing? A little bit of money. And I'm like, I'm going. And so I've been here ever since. Have done some really, really great work here. Like you said, about 25 years in the health and wellness industry. That's all I've done since I've been here. And then, little side things on the side, but health and wellness has definitely been, I've been on that path the entire time. And it's just been great. It's been great. I love Indianapolis. It's been really cool.
Well, excellent. Yeah. And so you've taken these yoga courses, so a little bit of your training and this 25-year path. So you've gotten your yoga certification. Now we should think about that. your yoga certification. What other kinds of trainings have you done, and what does it look like? I know you've been teaching yoga. But what other things? Tell me more about that journey beyond 2019. Maybe before that.
Well, I have a degree from Vincent University. That's where I went for college after leaving Evansville. And then went on to IUPUI I just have a basic degree there, just general studies. And that was because I had done so much in that time span. I ended up finishing that just a few years ago. And that's just weaving along through that journey and yoga. I got off track myself. I'm sorry.
You had so many things that you've accomplished. So
the yoga teacher training came in 2019. That was kind of a surprise for me. I've done lots of group exercise. I've worked for the YMCAs here in Indianapolis and in Evansville before I came. That's kind of where I started in Evansville, was at the YMCAs.
Oh, yeah. Didn't you help establish a YMCA?
Yes, we opened the Avondale Meadows YMCA over on the near east side of Indianapolis off of 38th Street. Helped open that as the wellness director there. That was a really, really cool experience. But yeah, I've been involved with the YMCAs for a very, very long time. Like I said, that's where I got my start and came here to Indianapolis and continued working with the YMCAs and some other organizations. Then moved into working for Indiana Black Expo in health promotions as their intern, and stayed there for just a little bit, and then left there, did a little bit of work on my own, a little bit of consulting work in health and wellness, and then left it all together for a second and got more into event planning. Working in nonprofit, I've been in nonprofit mostly. Of course, there's always conferences and things like that. So events are a huge part of the nonprofit world. So I've always done kind of event planning on the side. So I worked with a friend and my cousin's wife in bridal and event planning. So I did a lot of bridal shows. We did that a little bit. And then jumped back over into nonprofit, and then ended up working for the Indianapolis Urban League. Before that, went back to the YMCAs, and that's when I opened the Avondale Meadows YMCA. Left there and went to the Indianapolis Urban League here, and I was there for 4.5 years. While I was there, 2019, I got my yoga certification. Just because, and I think we'll get into that a little bit later, like how I moved into everything with mindfulness. But after I left the Urban League, I left that in 2020, just before the pandemic. I quit 2 weeks before the pandemic happened. I had no idea that was going to happen. I was like, what? I don't know, that was a good idea. But it ended up being great for me. That's when I decided to just go ahead and kind of move a little deeper into spirituality. I think sometimes we don't even know when things are happening. We're just kind of nudged in that direction. And so I took that. I was like, okay, maybe this is something I needed to do. My best friend was doing a certification through Mindfulness Academy already. And so she's like, you should take a look at this stuff here and see what you think. Looked at that, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this meditation thing. And yeah, I think I'm going to do this spiritual wellness part thing. I come from a family of preachers and teachers and elders and all of those things. So kind of spirituality and religion is just
it's in your blood,
all around me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that just seemed like a beautiful path for me. And it has been. It's been amazing. It was an amazing journey. It was pretty intense. The mindfulness and meditation part was pretty cool. It was pretty chill. It really kind of, changes your mind and shifts, do a lot of mind shifting in there. But then the spiritual wellness part came, and it was really intense. It was super intense, just because of all of the perspectives, and you're growing and learning yourself, and you're like, is this for me? Which one do I do? Should I be believing this? Should I understand? So you just have a greater understanding and a better worldview, I think, is what I came away with. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Amazing journey.
We will come back to that part because I would definitely like to talk a little bit more about what you did there, and what that meant for you on the other side. Mm-hmm. So we'll hop back into that in just a moment. I always like to ask what mindfulness is in your own definition.
Yeah. Mindfulness to me is present moment awareness, intentionality. I know what I'm doing right now. I know where I am right now, and I'm focused on what is happening here. I'm not concerned about what's happening in the future. I'm not concerned about what's going on, what happened back there. I'm right here in this moment, and this is what I can control right now. So we stay here, we focus here. That's really what mindfulness means to me.
A lot of power in the present moment. Mm-hmm. I love that definition. I'm wondering if you have a mindfulness routine of sorts.
I do have a mindfulness routine. It's kind of changed a little bit.
Tell us about that. I think that's important for people to hear how things change.
Yeah, and it can change.
Sure.
I think people should know that. It doesn't have to stay the same. I mean, this is your journey, right? It's personal to you. And so I start off typically, my mindfulness routine is waking up in the morning before my feet even hit the ground. Typically, I'm hitting my phone for a meditation, and that's typically on YouTube, or I have my, Echo Dot over there in the corner in my bedroom, and I'll just, hey, Alexa, can you play, some mindfulness and meditation music? And so I just take a few minutes before I even get out of bed, or I listen to a meditation, typically at night. That's how I go to sleep. And that's really how my journey started as well. It was just because of those racing thoughts and things like that, I couldn't go to sleep. So I always had a meditation on at night, affirmations, something like that, just to kind of quiet that and get me to a moment where I could just and go to sleep. And so I've just stayed with that. That's typically how I start my mornings. Like I said, before I go to bed. And I've incorporated also recently, I've been using cacao. So, raw cacao. I've been using that. It's a beautiful plant medicine. And it's really used a lot to really open the heart. It's been used for many, many, many years. Mayan people really brought that, for people. And so I really use that cacao. I knew I was going to be doing in this spiritual work. I was going to need to open my heart a little bit more. I'm like, open your heart and have some compassion for people, for myself and for others. Of course, that's what mindfulness is as well. And so, I've been using that as part of my morning routine on some days as well. When I'm just not feeling like, I don't wake up every day seeing rainbows.
Really?
Guys, I don't.
Okay.
I really don't. And so that has really helped me as well. Just get to a place to where, it just helps me feel lighter. I noticed that when I use the cacao, that I feel lighter. I feel a bit more joy. I feel a little bit more happy. And when I'm using the cacao, I also couple that with affirmations. Affirmations have been a huge part of my routine as well, my mindfulness routine, because again, the thoughts that we are telling ourselves. And I can be a little bit of an anxious person. And so just to kind of calm those things. And when I'm using the cacao, I'm always reading heart chakra affirmations. So it's just really, I'm beautiful, I open my heart to, whatever. But yeah, that has really, really, really helped and has just become a routine part of my day. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And I know in your training, you talked about that you do yin yoga and yoga nidra, which are two of my favorites.
Yeah.
I would love for you to share with our listeners a little bit about what those two practices are. But before we get into that, this cacao, what is that?
Yeah, it is.
How are you taking that?
It is the raw, I think it's considered the raw part of chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like a little nibs? Is that what they call them? The cocoa?
Yep. You can have
like a cocoa nib?
I have powder.
Yep.
And I really did a lot of research. I had been thinking about it for a while. And so I use that to, like I said, just to open my heart. But I use it in powder form. I purchased mine from Soul Lift Cacao. There are many places that offer it. I worked for a smoothie store a few months back.
I was going to ask if you can put it in smoothies, because we
put
like
it
to
in
do smoothies.
So
okay.
people are using, lots of people are using it because it just does so much for your body. It's a really good, great antioxidant. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey with that. Yeah,
I like that. No, okay. Yeah. I didn't want to forget that part,
no worries at all.
Let's talk about this yin yoga and yoga nidra. So let's start with yin. Tell us what yin
yoga
is.
Yin yoga is a more meditative, reflective style of yoga. If you've done yoga before, sometimes you go in and there's power yoga, there's hot yoga, and a lot of times that's all we see because that's all I saw back in the day. And I don't know. It was like, that's too slow for me. I don't want to do that. Well, yin yoga is very slow.
Very.
It's very slow. And yoga nidra, you call it yoga nidra, you can say it either way, is considered yogic sleep. So it's like you're in between that sleeping and waking. And it's said that's where you get a lot of the downloads. So, in spirituality, if you're really connected, or if you want to be really connected, or if you really are trying to get some answers or some solutions, in that liminal space there is where all of that knowledge starts coming in. A little fun fact that I read, Albert Einstein and some other really great people and philosophers would hold like a metal ball, and they would sit in a chair with a metal something underneath them. And when he fell asleep, that ball would fall, it would hit that thing, and he'd wake up, but then he would sit and write whatever came up. And that's when he would get those amazing thoughts and ideas, because it comes from in that little space right there, when we're in between sleep and wake.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I've never
So
heard that
research
before.
a little bit more. Yeah.
Don't
That's
you
pretty
worry.
cool.
I
It's
will.
pretty
That's
cool.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, so yoga nidra, those and Yin yoga, as I said, are a bit more meditative and more reflective. In Yin yoga, we hold those poses you can hold them for as little as 45 seconds to 10 minutes. But once you get into 10 minutes and things like that, you start getting into more restorative yoga. But those are just minutes where we're just in the pose and you're not really stretching and pushing. We're not looking for any sensation. We're not pushing to pain. It's just allowing your body to three areas that we focus on: finding your edge, and that may be just getting to the point of pain. And I tell people, back off a little bit. If you're feeling something, strain, anything like that, back off from that some. And then you want to allow your body just to take shape, whatever the shape is, right? And you're just letting your body do its thing. The gravity of your body, you're just kind of holding there, hanging there, using the breath a lot. We find our stillness and we just hold that pose for I do anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. And so we may get through a good 30, 45-minute class, whatever is needed, end with some meditation. But yeah, it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful style of yoga. Yeah.
I like that quite a bit. And then the yoga nidra or nidra, however you want to say that, I remember it being, or I would describe it as being something where it is very much so a guided meditation that's kind of helping with a little bit of visualization.
Yes. So much happens. And depending on the style of the teacher too, as well, depends on what you get, but absolutely much more guided. A lot of times I've experienced it and taught it with points of the body. And so we can do 61 points, typically 61, 62 points, I think, on the body. And it's not you, once you get to those points, figuring out, okay, what am I feeling? What's going on there? We don't hold there that long. It's just, right hand, right wrist, right elbow, right shoulder, top of the head. So you're just passing through all of these points, just being aware.
Just body scanning.
Just body scanning. That's exactly what we're doing. And yeah, it gives people a little bit more time, again, to quiet, be a bit more meditative and reflective. Some things start to come up, of course, when you start coupling poses with breath work, emotions begin to come up because that energy, we're working through that energy. There may be some stagnant energy going on in the body. Of course, the mind, mental blocks and things that are racing through your head. But yeah, it just allows you to get still. Yeah. Get still.
I like that. Thank you for walking us through that.
Yes, of course.
I'm wondering how mindfulness has impacted your life.
How has mindfulness impacted my life? Most definitely for the better. I have an answer to this as well. Slowing down. Like I said, I can be a pretty anxious person. And then just wanting to be busy all the time.
It can be addictive.
Yes, I think that's just how we've been conditioned. What we feel like we should be doing all the time. Doing, go, go, go. And it allowed me to slow down a lot and really helped with my mindset. Just what I was telling myself, the things I was saying to myself, the way I was causing myself to feel, whether it be guilt, again, anxiety, whatever I was feeling. It just helped me kind of quiet those things. It helped me create habits. I'm not great at that. I really like to just kind of, I'm a free spirit, it's all going to be okay. We're going to do it. And it's like, no, you need to form some habits, Let's do this. And really in my mindfulness and meditation training, that's part of it. You start off with creating these habits and getting into a daily routine. And that's really how I got into my daily routine, my spiritual routine, was creating that habit. Every morning I wake anywhere between 4 and 6. I was doing that for a great while there.
A.M.
Getting up and getting to it. So starting off my day with prayer, with meditation, sitting at my altars and just, really adding in that prayer and meditation, affirmations, whatever was needed. And sometimes it was just for a little bit of time. It may not be very long, and then I would go back to bed. But it was just, sometimes I was just, you just wake up and it's like, you need to be up. You're supposed to be doing this. And that happened a lot during my certification, the spiritual wellness certification. So I just felt like that was something that I should have been doing at that time. But yeah, it just really helped me. Mindfulness has just really helped me create those habits. And that has impacted me greatly. Yeah, deeply.
I like that. Gave you kind of a North Star of sorts to kind of work toward with your habits.
For sure.
So when you say things like, I wake up between 4 and 6, I can see, if someone's a beginner and they're going, no, she's intense.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to be Rona. Okay,
No.
Let's be honest here, people.
No.
Not everybody's going to wake up between 4 and 6, and that's not part of the bylaws of mindfulness. But I wonder if you do have tips for beginners, because I think a big part of it, we talk about it quite a bit on the show, is really, it boils down to habits. I mean, it's kind of the believing that, hey, this is something that is helping restore me. It's recharging me. It's something that is what I like to call a little miniature vacation from the craziness of life.
Yes.
And we all need that. I'm wondering, though, how it boils down to habit. I know the belief and then the habit is kind of what it feels like to me, but I'm wondering if you have any tips for people who maybe they are free spirits and they say, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. There are all kinds of things that people will say at the beginning, but what kind of tips would you have?
Yeah, I would definitely say, there's no right way to do it. What's important to you? What feels good to you? What can you do? That may be something simple as, and I loved this during our certification, 5 breaths. That was one thing. I'm like, 5 breaths, that's it? 5 breaths, because that may be all someone can do. If I'm a beginner and I have no idea about meditation, and there's so many myths and stigmas around yoga and meditation and all those types of things. And so when you're trying to introduce those things to people for the very first time, they're just kind of like, and they're looking at you like you're cross-eyed. They're like, what? What are you talking about? So just 5 breaths. We should be breathing. That's your life force, right? So really taking those full, deep breaths. A lot of us aren't even breathing properly. I don't think people know that. We're taking those shallow breaths, which a lot of times, and I'm sure Robert talked about that kind of puts you into that fight or flight, right? Because you're almost like you're hyperventilating. So if we're taking full belly deep breaths, that is really what's going to help calm that nervous system, and really get you into a deeper sense of peace and calm. And so again, as a beginner, if all you got is 5 breaths, that's it. If all you have is 3, let's start off with 3, right? And then, like I said before, just creating those habits. Doesn't matter how small they are. It doesn't matter. It could just be, maybe it's just your prayer time in the morning. You can do that anywhere. You can do that in your car. You can talk in your car. You can turn on the radio. I have YouTube going, just so even if I'm not able to watch, I can still listen. And that could be affirmation videos. It could be, they have so many on YouTube. Meditative Mind gives you meditations and things like that. So it's just really just finding what works best for you and making it simple and easy. Last year, my word for the year was ease. And so that's what I prayed for all of the time. I just want ease. Bring ease into my life. So if that's what you need is something easy and simple, make it easy and simple. It should be easy and simple. I always say that too. This is not hard and it's not rocket science, right? And then it's you. What works best for me? If that's all the time that I have and this is all that I can do right now, you can work your way up as you begin to learn more. But I think we do get in that space where it has to be like this. Well, she's doing it like this. And you see people get mixed up because they're watching social media too. And you see all of these different amazing things going on. And you're like, well, I should be doing this. I should be lighting a candle. Maybe I should have this. And it's like, what if you don't have a candle? Like some people don't have a candle, we have nothing. So if you don't have any of those things, what do you have? What can you do? And you start there and it's okay. And you stick with that. And some days it's going to be awesome. And some days it's not. Some days you get in there and you say, I have 5 minutes. Well, you get in there and you're like, I don't want to do 5 minutes. I only got this. I only have 2 minutes. Breathe, take it for the 2, and go on with your life. But I think really the biggest thing is I always suggest to beginners, start off, do something in the morning, because that typically sets the tone for your day.
Amen.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You get out there and you have all kinds of distractions and all kinds of noises that are happening around you. Life is loud. And so once you start off in the morning, nothing can get you off your track, because you've already set your intention for the day. And you stick with that and you stay with that, you're on your way.
Okay, so a personal fascination of mine is people who have this deep inner why that drives them, because I'm sorry, but there is something that's driving you if you're getting up between 4 and 6 in the morning. There's something that is beyond,
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm getting a little, what did you call it? The cacao. It's more than I get a little cacao with my coffee this morning. What drives you?
I will say I don't always do that. That was during training. That was during my spiritual wellness training. So I felt like I had to do that. I felt like it was just, and not had like, oh, I got to get up. I got to do this. Like I have to. It was more like you wake up at 4:25. You know what I mean? Every day. And then finally you're like, all right, fine, God, I'm getting up. I'm just going to get up, right? I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to do this. And then just a love for God,
Yeah.
You just do it. You do it because that's the best thing for you. I know that in those moments, I'm going to get the best and the clearest answers. And yeah, it just made me feel really good to know that I was able to do that, right? Because I'm not an early bird person like that. So if I could get up between 4 and 6, and then once I started doing it, it just became habit at that time. And I was excited. The more you do it, you get excited, and I was very excited to see, wow, what do you have for me today? What am I gonna get to know today? And so staying in that, you just find joy in that. I did. I found a lot of joy in that, and also, like I said, a lot of days too. Some were longer. Some of those sessions were longer than others. And then sometimes they were super short. It was just, 20, 30 minutes. The ancestors weren't speaking. And so I'm like, I'm going back to bed.
Check it
out. It's okay. We don't have anything to say to you today. You're doing great. Okay, thanks. And I go back to bed.
So, thumbs up for you, Rona.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you have a favorite mindfulness practice.
I do. I brought some things with me.
Ooh,
I did.
So tell us about it, and then maybe give us a little
Yeah,
training.
and I did it today. I did it on my Instagram Live today. I brought my sound bowl with me today. I just have a small Tibetan copper sound bowl. I love it.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Sound bowl. And so I typically use those and do affirmations with those. But also I start everything typically, if I'm working with a client, if I'm just meditating at home, with Psalms 23. Okay. That's something that I learned when I was a kid at church.
Yeah.
I think our pastor, when I was a kid, every Sunday, of course. And so it's like ingrained in you, and when you're a kid, you just start repeating it, and you realize that I memorized this because I hear it every Sunday. And so, I do that. I say that every day. I feel like Psalms 23 just covers everything. If you're worried about anything, if you need something, if you need protection, you say Psalms 23 and you're on your way. You're like, everything is great now.
It's like God's, I got you.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is for me. I'm like, I don't have to worry about anything. Great. All right, let's go. I'm good. So that's typically, that's something that's a favorite for me. I would definitely say those 3 things. But sound healing has been beautiful.
I've always wanted to try that. I've not been able to do it before.
Yep, I just did it with my boyfriend. He'd never done it either. And he was kind of looking at me like, what just happened? I'm like,
So what does it mean? What just happened? Like, do we feel what happens?
Yeah,
Tell us about sound healing.
He had some feelings. Well, it can be done. Sound healing doesn't just have to be a singing bowl, right? It doesn't have to be the crystal singing bowls. It doesn't have to be the Tibetan bowls. it can just be music, right? It can be tuning forks. It can be so many things. But when we're using the bowls or tuning forks or anything like that, that is able to kind of break up that stagnant energy that's in the body. And so, of course, I do a lot of energy things. I'm not a Reiki healer or anything like that, but a lot of energy work, working with chakras. And so really helping to clear those spaces in the body that may be that stuck energy may be sitting. And so it's able to just kind of clear those spaces, and just had this experience with someone working in the heart space and did that singing bowl right in the heart space, and going up the body. I could feel that it was pretty easy turning, but when I got to the heart space, I could barely get the little, I don't know what you call it, the little mallet, I think, around the bowl. It felt like something in them was stuck, like it really did. And so I'm like, first time I had experienced it, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, ooh, that stuck energy.
Would you like sprinkling some cacao over her? What are you doing?
Just breathing. Oh. And just because, of course, protecting myself as I'm doing it, but I could really feel that in different spaces. So I go back and I'm like, okay, it was easy here, come back, and it's heavy again. And so just continuing
to kind of work back and forth to
continuing, and breaking up that energy. And that's really what it does. It really kind of cleanses, clears out that negative energy that may be in there, or that stuck energy that may be in there. It really leaves you feeling a bit lighter. And
is that kind of what do people say afterward? Is it lighter and refreshed?
Yep, definitely. I feel lighter. All sorts of stuff. I've heard, lighter. Typically, is that I feel different. I feel a little different. People are shocked at, depending on what has happened. I just experienced, the person that I did this on recently was shaking a little bit, like not full body shaking, but when I got to that heart space, just kind of, jerky motions, and got done and was like, what was that? And I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, that was not me. Do you realize that? Like, I wasn't like shake. I'm like, I know, I'm just, clearing you out. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's neat. So you do kind of one-on-one sessions with people to do
one-on-one
things
sessions.
like that too.
I've done group sessions with people. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One-on-one group. Yeah.
All kinds of interesting things
Yeah.
that you offer. I'm wondering if you want to lead us in one of these practices.
Sure. I would love to.
What's one of the ones you want to?
Well, let's do the sound bowl, since you haven't experienced that before. Let's do that.
Everybody, this is my first time. I'm so excited.
Can I do Psalm 23 as I'm saying it?
Sure, okay? You can. Go for it.
We'll do that. So, can I back, Jacob, a little bit? Okay. So hopefully you guys can still hear me as I'm doing this. Try not to put this in the mic and make it super loud. So you'll hear maybe 3 loud dings here. And first, before we do those dings, let's take a deep breath. Inhaling in and exhaling out. You're going to hear the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters and restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare the table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. One more deep breath. And exhale. Beautiful, beautiful. Good stuff?
That is good stuff.
I know, isn't it great? I love it so much.
Oh, our videographer is always telling me, Jacob, he says, Aimee, every time you guys do some sort of meditation on here, you get really quiet. And I can't hear you.
I know. Sorry, Jacob. It does calm us down so much.
He's like, you got to speak up. Like,
Jacob's going to be asleep over there. He's like, you're putting me to sleep. Super calm.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your business.
Yeah,
when did you launch your business?
Launched my business, sort of, because I've kind of been like dancing around it since about 2018, probably 2017, 2018. Okay. I did a couple of events for Road Trip to Wellness. Around that time, I did just 3 kind of events over Planner House, and did a yoga and spirituality with a pastor, and she was also a yoga instructor. And where I come from, it was like, what? Yeah. So had her do some things with me. But yeah, it started about then. But then once I got through the spiritual wellness certification and the yoga certification, then Road Trip to Wellness really began to take shape. And so, yeah, just kind of has been leading me along, able to share with so many people about mindfulness and meditation, about yoga, about holistic healing, and things like, sound bowls, just things that people may not, just conventional things that people aren't typically used to knowing about. But Road Trip to Wellness is really here to show people simple, practical solutions or tips to their health and wellness. But now it's really moving more towards spirituality. And so really sharing what that may be like for people. Because I think people kind of get that mixed up with religion. And it's like, no. I don't have anything to do with that. What you do there is, but this spiritual space is completely personal to you. This is your personal journey, your personal walk. And so, yeah, really helping people understand what that means for them. Typically when people are beginning this, they're asking those questions like, what am I doing? Like, what's my purpose? I just don't understand, why I'm here. What's my part in this big old universe, right?
So small questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So really helping, right.
Okay.
So, and that's exactly how I feel sometimes. I'm like, no person should be helping you with this, but.
So how do you help people navigate through that? You meet someone, they say, why am I here? Yeah. You do need yoga training for that. Mm-hmm. So maybe you should think about that.
Yeah. It's conversation with people. People tell you a lot, in conversation. It's just meeting people where they are and getting a good understanding of what they know, where they're from. For me, it had a lot to do with how I was raised. Religion was a huge part of my life. The church was a huge part of my life. So really helping people just kind of, typically when I get people, that's really what the kind of roadblock may be is, I don't know if I'm supposed to be meditating. You get interesting questions like, one of my favorites is, when you're meditating, aren't you just filling your mind with nothing? Like, I don't know about your mind, but my mind is never filled with nothing. Like something is always going on in there. So no, it's not that. So having a greater helping them understand really what it is. And then just we'll do kind of an intake and assessment of just their needs. Holistic wellness. The company that I work for now, it's a nonprofit. That foundation of the 7 dimensions of wellness. So that has always stuck with me. That's a lot of what I use. We use that in our spiritual wellness, my training there as well.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, like the 7 dimensions of wellness.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but
like,
I'd love to know.
No. Or like the wellness wheel. Some people call it the wellness wheel.
What's that entail? What are those 7 things?
Those 7 things are spiritual wellness, occupational, intellectual, environmental, mental, physical. I'm forgetting one more. It's not emotional, but there's one more in there.
There's one more. You'll come back to that.
But it's all of those things, understanding holistically, all of those things need to be in balance for me to be a whole person and be operating at my most optimal, at my best self. And we know that if any of those things are off balance, whether it be the spirituality part, whether it be the emotional part, social. That's what it is.
I was thinking relational. I was like, I feel like there's
social
something
wellness,
in there.
Yes.
Okay.
But if any of those things are kind of off balance, then, the wheel is kind of off track. And so if you're aligning those, if you're familiar with the chakras, I typically kind of put those with the chakras, each of those areas.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we're able to kind of work through what we need to work through. So then, of course, like I said before, if somebody is having, that heart space, needing to work there in that area, for me, it was a lot of the lower chakras. It was, my root and really feeling safe. Do I have everything that I need? Rob probably talked about that when he was here, feeling safe, resourced, connected. Yes,
we did talk about that.
Yeah,
Very powerful
so
stuff.
many people don't. Yeah. So really getting those foundational ones cleaned and cleared and balanced, so we feel a bit more steady, right? Bit more grounded in those spaces. And so then that's when you start moving up and you get into the heart space and being able to speak your truth with your throat chakra and really being able to see clearly and know, exactly where you need to go, right? So yeah, that's really a lot of that.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Thank you for explaining that to us.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there was something that drew you to your current line of work or your current position even, because it seemed like it's been a journey.
Yeah.
But was there kind of this moment, I don't know if maybe that happened 2019 or so, when you just said, I'm going to call it quits here, and then, we have a pandemic. I don't know if there was just kind of like this turning point where you said, I really want to dedicate my life more specifically to health, wellness, really pointed, and spiritual wellness.
Absolutely. Right now, I work with the Centers of Wellness for Urban Women with Rona Dixon. She's amazing. I've worked with her for a long time. Started off as a volunteer with them, sat on their board most recently, right before I took the position. So I couldn't be on the board anymore. But I am the manager of wellness and health equity. A lot of the work that I've done before was centered around that. I've done food access work, all of those types of things. But this position is specifically working with our Power of Retreat. It's called the Power of Retreat program, and it's really focused on mental health of individuals that have been impacted by violence.
Okay.
So I'm sure everyone knows the city of Indianapolis has one of the highest rates of gun violence. And so we are really working specifically with 2 neighborhoods to really help those individuals, whether women and families, that's specifically who our organization works with, learn coping skills like affirmations and sound healing. One of my programs, a part of my program is called Sounding and Grounding. So teaching folks how to ground and stay calm in moments of crisis, right? Or how they can cope and deal with any trauma that they may be experiencing from that. So that has been an amazing journey. Really excited about being able to connect with them, to share these tips and techniques to really foster their healing within themselves and their families. And so that's been
multi-generational impact that you're having there. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and a lot of individuals, they are coming out to these sounding and groundings because sound healing is huge now. I mean, a lot of people are doing it. It's being offered a lot more. And so people are really relating and really getting engaged and really, they're here for it. They're here for the healing. And I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy about that.
If someone wants to try this sound healing, are they kind of all created equal, and or is it kind of better to do it in person versus online, or can you give somebody who's never really done that before some tips? You can work with somebody personally. I know several people that offer it, in their work studios. Janine Laniato, I always get her name wrong. Jadine Laniato. She is called the Breathing Teacher. She was recently at my first Power of Retreat. I did a full day retreat. She is amazing, and she uses sound healing a lot. You can do that one-on-one with folks, or they can do it in a group setting. You can do it online. And I mean, as you just listen to the sound bowl, right? And you can still get the effects of the sound bowls, or any type of healing like that, whether it's Reiki, you can do distance Reiki, anything like that. But yeah, they can experience it in person, virtually, any way they need the healing. We can typically get it to them. I've noticed a lot with the Power of Retreat, where, of course, wanting people to be in person to do this, but what if somebody can't, right? And what we're doing is, it's the Power of Retreat. It's not the Power of Retreat. It's Power of Retreat, helping people understand why you need to retreat and why the power in retreating. And so if you think about the word retreat, what does that typically mean? I always think about like war or a fight or something, like people are retreating, they're stepping back, they're stepping away, they're taking a break. And so I'm seeing that people sometimes need permission to do that, or they feel like they do. They're like, I can't do that. I'm not supposed to do that. Yes. Yeah. Moms feel guilty. I already spend so much time away from my kids. I don't want to, but it's necessary. It's necessary for your mental health, right? It's necessary for your physical health. Yeah.
It's necessary for your health all around. So really teaching people the power of that. But in my program, understanding that people may not be able to get there, I worked with a young lady who, she's just like, my mom doesn't know anything about yoga or sound healing. And she's like, if I say this to her, like, that's not gonna
fly.
Like, she didn't know anything about that. And I get that. I totally get that. But what can we show her that she can do? Maybe it is turning on her favorite gospel song in the morning. What are some things that she does? Maybe it is carving out a little space at home where this is just for her. This is just for me, right? And this is my space, this is my spot, and this is my time. And people giving her the respect, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, giving them that time to be able to go and do that and really take that time to retreat.
And are there different types of sound healings? Are there ones that are more maybe focused on the chakras? Are there ones that are, I don't know. I'm not sure of the different types.
Yeah, I don't know that there are different types of it. But can definitely, work for. Sometimes some people are there. I don't talk about chakras if I'm doing sound healing. It may be coupled with a yin yoga class. That's something that I have done. Or maybe it's just sound healing and meditation, right? Or visualization. So you can couple it with movement, or it can just be that and just that. I just have this one small bowl. People have huge setups sometimes. They use wind chimes. I do have a set just of small wind chimes, just because that kind of twinkling sound is just really cool. But I've seen African rattles. One of my favorite things that I have, I gave it away actually, but a rain drum or an ocean drum. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a round drum, kind of thin, but it has these little beads in there. And so as you move it around, it literally sounds like the ocean. It really does. I did it for one of my friends when I first got it. We did it in Highland Park, right off of New York in Highland. And when we got done, she's like, somebody was going crazy with the water. Like, is there a pool around here? I'm like, honey, that was me. That's the ocean drum. She's like, are you serious? Like, it's so calming. If you've gone to Jamaica or things like that, some people come back with like the rain sticks.
Yes.
Yes, something you can use as well. So just going back and forth, it's a really calming sound. So yeah, there are different types, but not any particular or special way that it has to be done or that you can receive it at all. No.
Well, it has me thinking, because as my own kids, they have these collections of all kinds of fidgets and things that are kind of more kinesthetic, right? But it has me thinking, while those can help calm them, the sounds also could be a calming bit,
Beautiful,
just
beautiful,
getting,
beautiful.
I think the rain sticks or different sorts of investments in the calming tools for our kids. That's a neat idea. Just got me thinking about that.
I mentioned Jadine. She does a lot of social emotional learning, and so she works with a lot of youth, and so that's what they do. Yeah, they're using more instruments. They can use instruments. She gave me a whole list of things. There's a thing called a kalimba that has these little kind of thing.
Oh, is it like the metal?
Yes.
What's it called?
I think it's called a kalimba, but kids love that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, being able to do the ocean drum and kind of tap on it and move, and all the while that you're doing it, brings a sense of calm to you, Yeah.
I like that.
That would be great for your kids.
I think so.
Great suggestion.
I like that. Thank you for that. I'm wondering if you could help define what spiritual wellness means.
What spiritual wellness means. Finding your life purpose and understanding exactly what that means for you, right?
That's deep.
That's
deep.
It can include your morals. It can include your values. But it's, again, I always like to hone in on the part that it's personal to you. Yeah, it's your perspective. It's not anybody else's. Again, it's not religion. We're not adding any of that in. It's those personal morals and values, and understanding that there is something bigger than you in this world guiding you, right? And really finding that connection to that, so you can answer those questions of what's my purpose? Why am I here? Right? So
that's a big one. And
it is big.
You help guide people through that? Is that something, so you can kind of be a bit of a coach for helping folks find their purpose and define their values?
Yeah.
And I mean, what comes out of that after someone works with you?
So much. I think you come away with a deeper connection to self, because that's where it has to start. We can't move into loving someone or others until we start here with our own heart and our own self-love. So that is definitely what you come away with, is a deeper connection to self. And when you have and that takes that, you said it correctly. It's work. It's hard work, people. I'm telling you, it is not, which is typically why people don't want to do it. It's like, I don't want to go there. It's a lot, but you come away with that perspective. Like, I know where I'm going now. I know what I need to do now. And that's shadow work. I'm sure people have heard about that.
So define that for us.
Yeah, shadow work is just going into those deeper, darker parts, of ourselves.
Like what?
Every day we show, our shiny happies, right? But when you're getting into some of, those deeper emotions start to come up. It could be traumas, things that triggered us or caused traumas to us when we were kids, so that may take inner child work, right? So it's just really, and that's something that we studied a lot in my training, was the aspects of yourself, and we have all different types of, personalities. And so being able to dig into those and really find out those things that may be triggering us, some of those things that may have caused a lot of trauma for us, and asking those questions like, why? Why is this bothering me? Why am I still feeling these feelings and these emotions? And so we sift through that and we get a greater understanding of those things so we can move forward and move, past them.
Okay.
Get some healing from them.
That does sound like that would be
It's a lot. I'm not going to
hard
say it's
work.
not. It's a lot.
And so when someone signs up for something like this, is this a 6-12 week sort of thing? Is it hey, you can come and kind of get some general guidance, and then if that's good for you, that's good for you? Or how does this arrangement kind of work?
Yeah. We can go as deep or as we can do as much or as little as you want.
Sure.
You can go deep if you want to go deep. You don't always find people that want to. I say that because you don't find people that really want to do that. I don't know that I really wanted to do that, right?
But you kind of felt called to it?
Yes, I was going to say, but I think I can't say I think. I know it's been part of, it's just part of my destiny. This is what I have to do this, right? I just have to. I don't have another explanation. Yeah. And it's there. It's in my heart. It's who I am. And I just have to do it. Yeah. And so when you know that, but you also know on the other side, you come out on the other side, you can't see that when you're in it. Sometimes you're in the trenches. You come away with, you're just blown away, I think, with your personal evolution, right? It's a beautiful journey. It's a tough journey, but it's a beautiful journey. It really is.
And you find that those changes stick.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You absolutely do. Mm-hmm.
I like this. Mm. So one of the things I want to talk about, you are bringing mindfulness to the Black community. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Tell me about that journey and why it's so important.
Well, it's not just me, of course. I'm doing my teeny tiny small part. But why I said that was because of my background and my upbringing. Like I said, I didn't know anything about any of this. Yeah. And so I was like, what? What is, no way, crystals and, all of those different things. You're just like, come on. And those are just they were not things that I had ever heard of or learned about or was encouraged to use in my life. And so being able to, that was really the reason for Road Trip to Wellness. Of course, like I said, working in the health and wellness industry for so many years, you see a lot, right? Like I said, food access and insecurity, obesity rates, infant mortality, maternal and child health, like all of these different things. And you're like, what is happening? You feel like you have no control. I'm watching these things happen. I'm on the front lines trying to help folks. And everybody sometimes is not on the same page, right? And so I just said, you know what? If y'all not going to do it, then I'm just going to go over here and do it myself. And so that's what I did. That was the reason for Road Trip to Wellness. And then knowing and understanding my family, I got the inclination early on that my grandfather was a preacher. My dad is a minister. My uncles are. I always knew I was probably going to be doing that. But I was like, I am not going to be up there like my grandpa screaming. And I'm like, what? I'm not supposed to do that, right? So this is my way. I had to find my way of being able to bring it to my people. And so I'm grateful that at this time that people are a bit more receptive to it. And so much is happening that I think people are understanding, like, we have to do something different. Like, we can't keep going in this way. We can't keep living this way because we're walking in fear a lot of times, right? Just waking up and walking outside. It can be nerve-wracking. And so helping people understand that there are ways to cope. There are ways to get through. You can breathe. You can do so many things to really heal, to really, really heal. And it doesn't always have to include, not that I'm saying that this is a bad thing to go to the doctor. You may need to be on medication, but that's not always the case, right? So helping people understand that there's more than one way to get to your healing.
And even if that is the case, you can still supplement that.
You can still supplement that. They can work together. It can work together. It really, really can. Here's so many people, my doctor said, yeah, I get that. But what else can you do? What else can you do for yourself to really help be instrumental in your own healing, your personal healing? And I think when we take the reins, a lot of times it's understanding I have control of my life, right? I have control of what happens to me. And so really being able to help people advocate for themselves and, again, take charge of their own healing. Yeah, I'm here for it all.
It's a lot of empowerment. I like what you're saying there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what your clients typically say when they first come to you.
Does this really work?
Okay. Is that the most common?
Does this really work? Because a lot of times they see me with like crystals and stuff. I always have some crystals in my purse or in my pocket or something like that. And I'm like, do those things really work? You know, and people are sitting down and you're like, okay, we're going to meditate. And they're like, one eye open, like, what? Is this really, are you sure? You know, and that, you know, part of it is, you know, believing in your own healing, you know, and understanding, again, there's more than one way. It doesn't look the same. No, I know it doesn't look the same. This is spiritual work. You know, we're so used to the physical world, but this is spiritual. So the unseen, you can't see that, right? And so just having that faith and that belief that this is going to work. This is going to heal me. Again, not saying that you don't need your doctors and things, right? But yeah, just having that understanding.
I'm wondering, what's typically the first step? If somebody says, I really like that Rona, I think I might want to do something with her, but I don't really know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me understand what the first step might be for someone to work with you? Because you have a lot of modalities.
Mm-hmm.
Is there kind of a little bit of discussion maybe to figure out what might be first? Or
Sure.
help me out here.
Sure. Because again, everybody's not into this stuff. Everybody's not into sound bowls. Not everybody wants the crystal. That may be too overwhelming for them. Or again, it just may be like, I don't know anything about that. Like, what else, you know, can we do? And so that may begin with just what we called in our training mind dynamics, and really having a discussion about your mindset. Like, what do we need? What are some barriers, you know, to your goals? What's holding you back? And so really trying to figure those types of things out. And from there, I can kind of, you know, ask a few more questions and get in there and really get a sense of where we need to start. And so, yeah, we just talk a little bit. And then I can ask. I do ask people, you know, well, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And like I said, some people would be like, I don't want those crystal things. Like, I don't know anything about those. Or people call them a rock sometimes, which really annoys me. Like, I don't want those rocks. I'm like, it's an amethyst. Thank you very much.
Have some respect.
So, yeah.
She has a name?
Exactly. Like, that's carnelian. Yeah. But, yeah, just... we figure out what works for them. Maybe none of that. Maybe it is giving them scripture, right? Because that may resonate more with people. I found early on that working in the African American community and with individuals that I was working with, tarot cards or oracle cards or things like that, no. Absolutely not. That's not good. Which is why I have affirmation cards.
I saw those.
Yeah, that's why I used affirmation cards, because giving somebody an affirmation, that's a little different, right? Than saying, okay, here's a tarot card reading, and this, you know, the Fool says, you know, they're like, we're not supposed to be doing tarot card, you know. It's just not something that it's not for everyone. And so getting a sense of that, I can get a sense of that from people as well. some of the things that they may be open to doing, some things that they may not be open to. Sometimes you do have to go in a little softer. And so you can do that. We can do that. And so we just figure that out along the way. I won't introduce things that, you don't like, or you may not be comfortable with.
Sure.
So yeah, it's just finding that comfort level with individuals, and then having that discussion, seeing what they're already doing and how we can kind of play along those lines to make it a bit more simple and a bit more easeful for them. And then we just work from there. And like I said, if some more people are used to church and scripture, if you really look at it, it's pretty similar, right? And so I can find a scripture for you on meditation. People are thinking, like I said, aren't we just filling our minds with nothing? No, actually, there are scriptures. I think First Corinthians has one. There's all of the things you should be thinking of. Things that are true, noble, pure. Meditate on these things. Mm-hmm. It gives you clear direction right there. Meditate on those things. So if your mind is filled with nothing, what should I be thinking about then? And so really helping people understand that. Yeah. And meet them there. Yeah. I use the power of the Psalms. I brought that book too. Like I said, I did Psalm 23, and that is a softer way, for people, introducing them to something. Those things are familiar. Everybody knows the Psalms, so everybody that I have worked with. And so being able to give them those tools like that are familiar to them and doesn't seem so out of the box and, out of the norm, feels a little safer for them. So, yeah.
I like that. And I'm curious, what do your clients typically say after they've practiced mindfulness, after they've practiced some of these modalities? Can you give me a sense for when they come to you versus after they've been doing this for a little while? What kind of transformations do you see?
I didn't know I could feel this way.
Oh.
Didn't know I could feel this way. Yeah, and that makes me pretty emotional even thinking that. Yeah, it was like that for me. And seeing that transformation in people is amazing because a lot of times, like I said, it's new to them. They don't understand it. They may not even believe it, right? But having them say, I did not know that I could feel this way, right? Again, I can be a very anxious person. And so I told some of my friends before the pandemic, I said, had I had to quit my job, the way I was feeling, I feel completely different than I did 3 years ago. And I just told them, I said, I don't know that I would be here had I not made those radical changes like that. And listening to myself and listening to that, loud, learning like something is off. This is not good, right? And so listening to myself and advocating for myself and taking the reins and hitting the button saying, I'm done. I'm off this roller coaster. I'm getting off, and finding something that was a bit more healing for me. So yeah, to hear that, I didn't know I could feel this way, or this is different. Sometimes you're like, this is different, but people keep sticking with it. If it's movement like yoga, Rob and I had some really cool people when we did some work together. I was amazed that sometimes it was just 8 to 10 minutes of chair yoga. And we had people doing this, and people would get on these calls and they're just singing my praises. And I'm like, we only did like 8 minutes, guys. But it was profound for them. And you never think that. I always think I need more time, but they're like, nope, that was just enough. That's just what I needed to get me started. And so to hear somebody say, my wife is making fun of me this morning because I was doing yoga, and she came out, she's like, what are you doing? He's like, Rona told me I need to do this yoga. So doing chair yoga, and then people inviting their kids to do that with them because their kids see them doing this movement. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's amazing feeling to know that those little things, like I said, no matter if it is 7 to 8 minutes, I don't think it's enough, but it's perfect for them.
Yeah.
It's just what they needed.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a daily strategy that you would tell folks, just one thing that they could do to be a little more mindful.
think I said it earlier. Start the day off setting your personal intention. Start it off like that. That's going to guide the rest of your day. And that gives you total control of your life and your day. Because the second you walk out, or the second you don't even have to walk out of your house anymore. The second you pick up that phone, people get on social media. They do nope, don't start there. Like I said, I could still be laying in bed. And before I even look at Instagram or anything else, I just hit the YouTube button and I pull up a meditation, and that's where I start. It could be 10 minutes. I just do what I need, right? But start off with setting your intention. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be anything major. Maybe you just say, I just want more peace in my life today. I don't want any drama. I just want peace. I just want peace.
That's your intention.
I just want
it's
peace.
that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about mindfulness that I always try to remember is you can do it with ease.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
It can be very simple.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take any special equipment, and it doesn't have to take loads and loads and loads of time.
Nope, it does not.
It's available to you every minute.
Every minute, everywhere. It's super accessible.
Yeah.
It is super accessible.
You just talked about setting an intention, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a pivotal part of the glowy daily reflection
Mm-hmm.
practice that I've
Mm-hmm.
included in my book. There have been several
Yeah.
things along the way I thought,
Yeah.
ooh, that's part of the glowy daily
Mm-hmm.
reflection
Mm-hmm.
practice. So she
Mm-hmm.
must like that kind of part of it. I'm wondering if you would join me in
Sure,
doing that.
let's.
And then we'll wrap up hearing a little bit about how folks can learn more about you. It sounds like
Sure.
you're on Insta and whatnot. And so
Absolutely.
we can learn about that. I'm going to, like I said, invite you
the
to begin
glowy.
here to do the
Yes.
glowy daily reflection practice. So
Mhm.
I will tell you what they mean, and then we'll go
Mhm.
back through real quick, and you can tell me what you think about each of the areas. So
Okay.
it is an acronym. Glowy is GLOWY.
Mhm.
The G stands for grateful. So there's something you're grateful for. Maybe it's a few things on a particular day if you're feeling
Mhm.
awfully grateful. The L stands for lift up. So the things in our lives that need help, may need resources, time,
Mhm.
money, other people,
Mhm.
or for someone else that you really just want to kind of intercede for them. The O stands for observe. That's a big part of
Mhm.
mindfulness, is
Mhm.
observing what's going on inside and around us.
Mhm.
The W is for wholesome intention.
Mm.
So setting an intention maybe for this moment, for this
Yeah,
day,
Absolutely.
for this year, could
Mhm.
even be as we're here at this point in the year. And the Y is for you are. So that is your affirmation. You get to say, Rona, you are, and get to leave yourself on a beautiful note.
Yeah.
So let's start with that G.
All
Tell me
right.
something you're grateful for.
Well, I am grateful for moments like these, to be here, invited on someone's podcast. Never thought I'd be here. So I am super grateful for that.
Well, we're grateful to have you. So right back at you.
Super grateful.
The L is for lift up. So something for you or someone else, or a little mix, whatever you feel.
I'm going to lift up my niece. She lost her 3-month-old baby, so we had a funeral last weekend. So yes, I'm going to lift up my niece and her partner in Evansville, Indiana, after their loss. When her twin baby, she had twins, and so her twin baby girl.
Oh,
So yeah,
mercy.
lift her up, please.
Big time.
Her and her family.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that. O is for observe. So something you're observing could be in reflection to maybe what you just said or something else in this moment. That's a big thing to process.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And that's only been a week out, so that's
a lot.
processing just myself. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Observing what kind of example probably I am for others. Making sure that that's always in my head. So I'm always checking and observing myself,
Yeah.
to make sure that, I'm a good example. I'm a good walking example for people.
Good. Your wholesome intention
Is more peace, probably. Yeah, just asking for more peace every day. Every day. No, I'm going to change that because my word for this year was breakthrough.
Ooh,
So
do tell
my
me about that.
Wholesome intention is breaking through. Well, I told you before that I could kind of dance around things a lot.
Okay.
Because I'm a Virgo and I just want to, thinking about it, guys. I got to get it perfect, right? I got to analyzing it all, and I want it to be perfect for you. I want it to observing. That's what I just said. Observing that I'm a good walking example. But wholesome intention is to just break on through. I'm just going to break on through. Yeah, that's my wholesome intention.
Break on through as in to a next level, or what's that mean?
Barriers, next level, both of those and all of that. Yeah, just breaking on through. Just really not holding back at all. I'm just breaking on through to the other side.
Awesome. And the Y is for you are, so you get to give yourself a little self-love.
Yes.
So Rona.
I wanted to say that. I am, Rona, you are loved. I am loved. Thank you for the love here. Thank you for the love, everyone out there. I'm just so grateful because I love you too. I told you I've been doing the cacao. I'm opening my heart. So I'm just brimming with love, guys.
Watch out. Here comes the open heart.
Everybody gets the love. You get some love. You get some love. You get some love. Everybody gets love.
Oh my goodness. You're cracking me up. So this is the chance where maybe you get a little bit more breaking through. Yeah. Tell me some more about your website. Tell folks where they can learn more about you, how they can connect with you. If you want to share with us, if you have any particular endeavors that you want to share about or socials, drop it all. Tell us. All right. Tell us all.
You can find me on Instagram at roadtrip2wellness. My website is roadtriptowellness.net. You'll find some information on there about meditation and things like that, what I offer. Facebook, Road Trip to Wellness. You can find me there. Or I have a personal page too, just Rona Dixon. You can find me there as well. But if you need anything else, just give me a shout. If you need anything from Siwoo, I'll go ahead and plug Siwoo as well. That's where I work. It's my day work, but doing a lot of the same work, but specifically around mental health. And individuals, like I said, have been impacted by trauma due to gun violence. And so, yeah, you can find me in that space as well. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm here for you folks.
I'm wondering if you want to read an affirmation card and then I'll wrap us up.
I will. Thank you for asking me. I love it. Thank you. All right. I'm going to shuffle these cards, folks. Let's see what comes out for you guys today. That one fell out on top. And this says, I soothe away anxiety and stress by choosing to do things to help me relax. Didn't I say power of retreat? See that? That's how it happens.
That's where it is.
That's where it happens. So you soothe away anxiety and stress by choosing to do things that help me relax. So you can soothe it all the way yourself.
Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah, Marcus, thanks so much.
Well, we'll wrap up here. From my heart to yours, may you live with ease. This is your host, Aimee Morgan, signing off.